Hey everybody, I'm Jesse and welcome to another edition of Gen X Thinks. And today I'm going to talk about why Gen X rules. One of my favorite subjects. To kick things off, I was going reading cross headlines and stuff and just doing a little bit of research, a little bit of reading for topics that might be interesting to talk about on here. And I saw that Generation Z, the number of Generation Z, that the percentage that identify as trans and non-binary and all this shit, that percentage is down to 3.6%, I think, which is, the article said it had dropped significantly in the last few years. And so my point by bringing that up is that that's one of the reasons Gen X rules, is because we know what the hell we are. We know who we are. You know what I'm saying? we're not confused about ourselves. You know what gender we are or whatever. Most of us anyway. You know, no matter what. It doesn't matter if you're trans or whatever. Who gives a shit? But just the fact that you're confused, you're trans, and then all of a sudden, you know, they take a poll and you're not trans anymore. You know, just that level of confusion there. You know what I'm saying? And that poll thing speaks to the way that generation shifts with societal influence, you know, society's opinions. So when Biden was in office and he was celebrating all that shit, and Obama had the rainbow flag up and all that stuff, a lot of kids were identifying as trans and non-binary and all this stuff, right? Dog Karma. What's up? Who else we got? Shannon. Hey, Shannon. Tripwire. How's it going? Raziel, what's up? Mall World. Alright. Mall World. I've never heard of that before. But, you know, society as a whole, when that shifts, Trump got into office and he stopped all that, supposedly, or he's stopping, or whatever he says he's stopping, the men competing in women's sports and all this, and he's, you know, and now that shift has gone over and people aren't identifying as trans anymore. So just what is that? Either you're trans, you know, or you're not. You're non-binary, or you're binary, or you're not. Just pick something and stick with it. I don't give a shit if you're trans, but stick with it. Be trans then. You know what I mean? You're so confused that you don't even know if you're trans or not. Okay. As a society, we're just messing with these kids' heads with all this bullshit, and that's just bad. I feel bad for these kids. They don't even know if they're trans or not. Good morning, just another guy in the woods. What's up? Glad to see you here. Oh. Young people thinking about living in a giant mall. What the hell? Do they even know what a mall is? They don't know what was in the mall. Well, a mall is a big derelict empty building to them now, right? Just a big flat empty building. So I guess so. I guess I could see the appeal of that. just making little community. Well, we want to do it, but we know what the mall is for. We know, we have a connection to the mall. So I don't know. It makes more sense to us but I guess as a big empty building, a big blank slate, I guess I could see the appeal for younger generations too. That's just a good idea. What are you going to do? I can't cry because Gen Z wants to jump on that bandwagon too. It's a good idea. It's a good idea. YouTube rocker, what's up, dude? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We knew what damn gender we were. We weren't confused about that shit. And that's a lot of that confusion. It's just ingrained into people now. Just confusion about everything. About our language, about math. How confusing they did that new math shit they tried to teach those kids. They're just confusing all over the place. Jeff 7, what's up, dude? Glad to see you here, man. Glad you could make it. But yeah. And if you know me, I believe that shit is by design, right? I just think that it's put into the education system, and they're indoctrinated from a young age to be confused, to dumb down their ability to think. Yeah. And that's another thing Shannon mentions there about the chromosomes. They want you to trust the science, except for that, except for the science that doesn't support their argument, the scientists who don't support their argument. Yeah, that's the thing, Rocker. Nobody knows what's real anymore. I mean, and that's only getting worse with the advent of AI and all this shit, right? That's another reason why Gen X is awesome, because we were rooted in reality, and we came up, knowing there was a sharp line defining reality from fantasy. It wasn't a question. If you lived in the fantasy part of it, you needed help. You needed some kind of assistance, maybe some medication, maybe see a doctor or something. If you lived over there, if you believed that was the real, then you needed assistance. You needed help from your fellow man, because your brain was broken. Nowadays, they're blending that, so nobody knows what's real. What is my gender? I don't know. What is my species? I don't even know what species I am. I'm a dog. I'm a cat. I'm a bunny. I'm not sure. I'm confused. Just, and the list goes on, right? It's crazy. Yeah, the blending of fantasy and reality, that blurring that sharp line that we grew up with, is just a monumental, creation of confusion. They're just creating confusion on a monumental level. Wayne Beatty, what's up, dude? And seeing what I see, I just believe all that shit is by design. You don't inject that shit into the schools and start teaching them all this weird shit and on accident. Oops, we've been indoctrinating your kids with this gender theory for the last 20 years. We're sorry. That was an accident. Our bad. We'll there's no fixing that now. The kids have been coming up through school, learning all this shit, memorizing all this weird shit or whatever, and can't think for themselves. They're just, their gender is attached to, public sentiment. Is it popular now? Oh, I'm gender fluid then. Oh, it's unpopular now. Well, I'm straight. Yeah. And it's like, it's almost like they're not really being, okay, they're not being whatever it is, transgender or gender fluid or whatever they should. They're just identifying as it, right? They're just saying it. It's just words. So they can just change the words. Oh yeah, I'm just heterosexual now, Well, have you ever done any gender fluid stuff when you were gender fluid? No, no, I didn't. I just, but I just felt I was gender fluid, so I was gender fluid. So just that kind of weird shit where nothing is reality, nothing is concrete, everything is fluid and just miasmic, just bullshit, confusion blended together in all these weird different ways, ignoring hard science and when it's convenient, accepting just bullshit science when it's convenient, for to back up your claims or whatever, and then just shouting down anybody who says otherwise, right? And that's part of the thing that cognitive dissonance people hold in their heads. Oh yeah, trust the science, and unless they're talking about Y chromosomes, oh no, then science is bullshit. Trust your feelings. Don't trust the science there. Trust your feelings. It's crazy. Yeah, and most people don't. Most people, we don't care if somebody else is gay or trans or whatever. We don't give a shit, Nobody cares. That's the thing that really blows my mind. All these people that want to get up there and demonstrate and fight for their rights and shit, and you're just a regular dude. Who gives a shit what you do in your bedroom? You're just a regular dude. You got the same rights I have. You can vote. You can have a gun. You can do whatever you want to do. I can't go into a women's bathroom. You can't go into a women's bathroom. We got the same rights. So what rights are you talking about? What rights are you out there, peddling around fighting for? You know what I'm saying? I don't get that. I really don't. That blows my mind. What are these people fighting for? When they're perfectly legal, nobody looks down on them for doing whatever they want in the privacy of their own home. Nobody gives a shit. Just do you. Just leave me alone. But that's the thing. They don't want to leave you alone. They don't want to leave your kids alone. They want to shove that shit out on everybody else and make everybody else, part of that weird group, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, Trip. You could identify as a bucket of KFC would make you taste better. Yeah, you're right about that, Trip. Oh yeah, no, gay has never been a problem. We had gay people since the dawn of time, dude. They had gays back in the Roman Republic. Had homosexuals in it. I mean, we've had homosexuals since as far back as we can go. Gays aren't the damn problem. Yeah. It's the hormones and the elective surgeries and a grown-ass man going in and getting hormones and elective surgeries. Who gives a shit? Nobody gives a shit. But when the school takes a child, an underage child, without their parents' consent or knowledge, and gets them these hormone pills, which they are doing. The school is getting the kids these treatments and shit behind the parents' backs. without the parents' consent or knowledge. Okay? Now you're gone haywire. Not only that, the parent shouldn't even be able to do that to an underage kid. Only a grown adult should be able to make lifelong decisions for themselves like that. But even then, even if you pass the law and you can only adults can get that for themselves, these crazy ass people are still gonna brainwash their kids into getting it by the time they're that age, because they're gonna grow up in that, thinking he's gonna grow up thinking he's a girl because his mom told him he's a girl his whole life. So what the hell are you gonna do? But yeah, I don't think that kids should get that shit at all, ever, by any means. I think that should be completely illegal. Yeah, they can't buy a beer. They're not old enough to buy a beer. They're not old enough to get a tattoo. You can't even walk in holding your kid's hand and give him consent to buy beer. You know what I mean? It's just completely illegal. If you bought beer for him, it would be completely illegal. But you can have his testicles cut off and give him these hormone things that'll just destroy the rest of his life. You know what I mean? One night of partying, or the lifelong changes and the destruction of psyche and shit between a 6-pack of beer and gender surgery are just insanely off kilter, and one is completely legal, and the other one is punishable by years in prison. Shannon, that shouldn't be legal to sterilize your children, even your own children. Not stuff like that. We have laws in place to protect children and animals. Those are the victimless crimes that I agree with. All right? Children and animals cannot protect themselves. They cannot give consent. A dog cannot give consent to be chained up to a tree out in the 100-degree heat. A dog can't give consent to that. That's abuse. A dog cannot, give consent to, being starved or whatever. Same with a kid. A kid will crawl into the seat beside you without a seatbelt and just ride there. A kid doesn't. They don't have the comprehension. So yeah, you have to put laws in place that force you to protect your children and to treat animals decently, okay? Because there are people out there who won't do either. And growing up in the 70s, everybody was that way. They didn't give a shit. You chain a dog outside for, as long as you wanted. Keep your dog chained up out there for forever until it died. It never let it off the chain. Nobody would say shit to you. Kids riding around in the back seat, just crawling around all over the place, no seatbelt, no car seat, nothing, just right around. Nobody gives a shit. But today we know better. You know what I mean? We've come a long way in that, and we protect children and animals and stuff, which is good. Sometimes it goes too far. Don't get me wrong, but overall, it's a good thing. Now, having said that, I oppose the seatbelt law because I'm a grown-ass adult. I can make that decision for myself. I don't need the government to tell me to wear a seatbelt. And I've said it before, I would wear a seatbelt regardless of the law. If they redacted that law overnight, I'll still wear my seatbelt because I don't want to, I want to be safe. But if somebody else doesn't want to wear a seatbelt, then they shouldn't have to. But a kid should be made to wear, to be protected in a car. And to have these laws that are completely polar opposites. You gotta put your kid in a car seat, but you can cut his testicles off. You know what I mean? What? What? Hold up, what? That's what if he lost his testicles in a car crash? Then I'll go to jail because I didn't have him in the seat. What the hell? It just doesn't make any damn sense. Oh, at least 21. I would tripwire in all common sense. In all common sense, just honest opinion, I would make it 30. Yeah, at least 21 though. That would be the bare minimum. I mean, that would be the lowest acceptable number. That's the if you were bargaining, I would shoot for 45 and hope to get 30, and I would settle for 21. If I realized I couldn't get anything else, I would settle for 21 at the rock bottom. Yeah. But yeah, I don't even, that's too young to make that decision. That's just too young. Because I've seen a lot of those stories about those young people like that who get it, and then 8 or 10 years later they're suicidal. They've ruined their lives, and there's no going back and all this stuff, you know what I mean? So yeah, and I've heard many times from many different places that your brain isn't fully developed, the human brain, until the age of 25. That's when you're finally got your adult brain. Scientifically speaking, biologically speaking. So yeah, I would try to get higher than 21, but yeah, I would say 21 would be the bare minimum there, Trip, in my opinion. Yeah, Raziel. I mean, when we have laws like that, like I mentioned, chaining a dog up. Now out here in Florida, we just got this place, Florida, the state of Florida, just riddled with insects and shit, and it's so hot. And we have a lot of dogs down here that aren't bred for this. It's not like we're up north and we have huskies that like to go outside and say no. We're down south with huskies chained to a tree, just getting eaten up with fleas and shit. You know what I mean? And just baking in the sun. Number one. Number two, if you want to chain your dog to a tree while it goes potty or something, you know what I mean? There's common sense parts out there, but then you've got your nosy neighbor Karen who will just see the dog chained up, just glance out their window and see the dog chained up, they have no idea how long it's been there. An hour chaining your dog to a tree for an hour, I don't see anything wrong with that at all. 2 hours maybe, I don't know, but leaving the dog chained up out there, that's forever, a week. So, then maybe something should be done. But these Karens, they just glance out there and see a dog chained up to a tree, and they call the authorities. Instead of taking a few moments to call or go knock on the door. Hey man, I see your dog chained up on the tree. Do you need me to help you somehow? You don't have a place to put it? What? Maybe I can help out somehow. Maybe, I'll give the dog a bath for you and I'll bring it over. You can play in my yard. I got a fenced in yard over here or whatever. But people won't do that. They'll just call the authorities. Oh no, that's just where he goes. I just put him out there to go to the bathroom. He'll only be out there about 15 minutes and he's coming back in. No big deal. Then I go clean it up, and what I'm saying? So, but they don't take that next step. They just call the authorities. Want to snitch you out. So, and then it's up to the authorities, right? They get there and they'll give you a ticket or do something to you instead of doing any kind of investigation. Sometimes just depend on who shows up. But a lot of crazy shit happens. Yeah. I always wear my seatbelt too, and I believe that kids should be in car seats. Lorna Charles. Hey, what's up? Glad to see you here. Glad you could make it. Let's see, I gotta catch up in the Bucky, what's up, Bucky? Hey, man. How's it going, buddy? Burglars, Chuck Cayman's at Cashiers, Crusader Survivor. Yeah, I need to do another Florida Man episode. That shit was fun. Yeah, Florida Man. We got us Florida dudes. We get a bad rap. You know what I mean? We get a bad rap. We do some crazy shit once in a while. You know what I mean? But crazy shit needs to be done sometimes. I'll just be honest with y'all. Crazy shit needs to be done sometimes. What are you going to do? You know? You sit there and do nothing? Or you can do some crazy shit. It needs to be done. So, yeah, Florida Man, we deserve it. I mean, what are you going to do? You know, we deserve it. I'm not going to lie. We deserve that moniker. You know, Florida dudes do some off the wall shit sometimes. Sit up on the roof of a Burger King for a few hours, and you know, once in a while. But you know, we like, you know, that's just how we get down here in the South. So yeah, the old Florida Man. Yeah, I could have made a Florida Man headline once or twice in my life, so I can't talk too bad about Florida Man. I've done some dumb shit once in a while. I've kind of grown out of that now. I don't think I'll be Florida Man again until maybe when I'm really old and I start losing my my sensibilities, you know. Get confused about where I am, go wandering off and do some weird shit. Yeah, so I might make the headlines one day as Florida Man, but not for a while, I hope. Oh shit, MC Hammer. Yeah, stop. It's hammer time. Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I remember those 900 numbers. I remember me and my cousin calling those 900 numbers, and we couldn't help but laugh. I was about 9 or 10 years old. We were calling those 900 numbers. Yeah, and we were both laughing, you know, trying not to laugh and trying to make our voices deeper and shit. Hey, hi. What's your name? Some of y'all, I know some of y'all are, you know, you're goody two shoes and you never did any shit like that. But I did just about everything that you could do as an idiot Gen X kid. Yeah, it's on my rap sheet. I almost guarantee it. Oh yeah, that's one thing, Shannon. We've got plenty of bugs down here. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, Razio. If you don't want to wear a seatbelt, you shouldn't have to. That's just my opinion. I mean, who the hell's going to tell me that I must keep myself safe? People are, yeah, Chaz for a living jumps out of airplanes. You know what I'm saying? Where's his seatbelt? As he's got to put his seatbelt on as he's rocketing toward the earth. What? You know, but we do all this shit. But in my opinion, that's just a way to hand out tickets. That's just another way to get income for the state. That's my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong, but I just don't agree with that stuff. I don't agree with the state being my parents, stepping in and parenting me. I'll wear a seatbelt if I want to, you know, or not. I do, like I said, but yeah, I don't believe that they should force you to wear a seatbelt if it's uncomfortable or whatever, and you're a safe driver. You shouldn't have to wear a seatbelt. But they, of course, saying that, we know that there's a lot of idiots out there who would drive around letting their kids just crawl all over the place. All right, Crusader, I'll put that on the list of episodes. Then I'll do another Florida man. Yeah, that shit's fun talking about all the crazy Florida man headlines. Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. We got a lot of retirees down here, and then they act up when they get down here too. It's like, they think it's spring break or something. I don't know what the hell they think. Yeah, Rocker, we got a lot of bugs. I mean, you come down here and you see our, one of these huge grasshoppers we have. I mean, the damn thing weighs half a pound. You know what I'm saying? Literally. I mean, we have grasshoppers. That thing lands on the side of your face and you don't know what it is. It's just a harmless grasshopper. But before you realize what the hell has got a hold of you, you will lose your shit. Lose your shit. Just black right there. And you can feel its legs, like its sticky little legs clawing on the side of your neck right there. You will lose your shit. Yeah. As a matter of fact, one of the worst instances I had with bugs, I was riding a horse, and it was an Appaloosa mare named Shawnee, and just riding along. She's a good horse. She's just a good horse. So no problems with her. I'm just kind of giving her exercise, just walking along, and a big one of those, what do you call them? We call them banana spiders. I don't know what their actual name is, but like the size of your hand. You know what I mean? They're harmless too. Never been bitten by one. You see them all the time down here. But one of them fell out of a tree and landed right on my hat and was like hanging down like this, like swinging toward my face. You know what I mean? Had like two legs on the brim of my hat and swinging toward my face. And I'm on this mare, and she's just plodding along, not paying attention to anything. And this spider comes down and swings toward my face like that, and I lose my shit. And I'm not afraid of spiders. I'll pick a spider up and toss it out or whatever. It doesn't bother. But one this close to my face like that, and a gargantuan one at that, you know what I mean? Like literally the size of the palm of my hand, and it's going like this, and it's coming in toward my face. You can see it in slow motion. Well, I lose my shit. I freak out. Bah! I scream and throw my hat. I lose the reins and shit. And of course, I scare the shit out of the horse. You know what I mean? She's not ready for me to just spaz out on her back. She doesn't know if a bear's jumped out of the woods or, aliens are coming to get us. She has no clue. You know what I mean? She can't see up there. She's looking out, in front of her and shit. And so I lose my shit and, of course, scare the shit out of her. So she takes off. And luckily, somehow, I was able to grab the saddle horn and keep on, and she, like, turns and goes sideways and shit. So I'm like this. Yeah, the spider damn near killed me, dude. Got me killed, yeah. So, yeah, many bugs. And not just a lot of bugs, but a lot of big bugs. And even if they're harmless, you don't want them on your neck, you know what I'm saying? Or on your face or nothing like that. A lot of our bugs are completely harmless, but they are creepy and scary looking, dude. Yeah, I've heard a lot of stories like that, Crusader, about the death caused by the seatbelt. Yeah. Yeah, Trip. That's why. Yeah, I'm lucky there because none of that shit was recorded. That dumb shit I did is burned on the internet for eternity. Jumped off a waterfall and can't swim, shit, and yeah, that's some crazy shit. I jumped off a bridge one time, damn near killed myself when I hit the water. Yeah, no, I remember riding in the back of a pickup many, many times. Rode in the back of a pickup. Yeah, yeah, I think about that same thing, Bucky. How the hell did Native Americans live here without air conditioning or anything? Just live outside in Florida. Holy shit. Interior, they'd, I could almost see it on the beach, but then a hurricane would just wipe your ass off the off the map if you were on the beach. But yeah, hiding a deadly black tarantula, Raziel, yeah, dude. The Australian bird spider. Yeah, I think that's one thing that Australia and Florida have in common is just our creepy ass, uh, wildlife, fauna, and the crazy shit we have here. We've got snakes out there in the swamps that eat a goat without a hiccup, just swallow a goat. There's a picture of a video that went viral a while back of an old man walking his little teacup poodle or whatever by a lake, and a gator come out and grab it. He jumped in and took it out of the gator's mouth. Yeah, just crazy shit like that. But you could you can tell that people like that old man, he's not from Florida. We don't walk our dogs down by the lake because we know there are gators in that water. But these people come down here vacationing or whatever from New York, and he was probably staying at a condo he rented for a weekend or something, and he's walking his little dog, and that gator came up and got it. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good description though, a face hugger. Straight out of the Alien movie, dude. Yeah, Trip. Yeah, boa constrictors, because we got a lot of that. Maybe you do too, Trip. We get a lot of that. People will buy shit from a pet store and then decide they don't want it, so they just let it go. Let it go out in the wild. And then them damn things will breed and take over. So they've got a bounty now on boa constrictors out there in the Everglades. I think people make a living just catching boas. And they're not native to Florida. Boas or pythons, I forget which one, because we have one that's native. One of those big snakes is native to Florida, and the intrusive species is wiping it out. Yeah, yeah, we've got some big damn snakes down here, Crusader. Yeah, you're right about that. Yeah, Raziel, yeah. Yeah, bears and wolves and badgers, they're not falling out of trees. Yeah, yeah, I bet. That's one I've never been to Tennessee. I've I'd like to go there actually one of these days. There are a lot of places I'd like to go there. Not the shoes trip. Crusader, yeah, I've actually eaten black bear before. It's good. I liked it. Shit, I'll eat some bear in a heartbeat. But I've eaten rattlesnake, porcupine. I've eaten all kinds of shit. But bear is one of them. One of the ones I like. Oh yeah, yeah, rocker. Our humidity here is insane, dude. That's one of the reasons that it's so miserable here. It's just the humidity. We've got that tropical jungle humidity, you know, and but it changes so fast. Like down south, Miami and stuff, it's very tropical. Bananas and mangoes will grow just fine in Miami, Fort Lauderdale area down there. But then you get up here where I live, and just you know, Central Florida, and and that stuff doesn't grow because we'll get just a couple days, a couple mornings, a few hours, literally all year long. We'll get a few hours where the temperature will drop below freezing. Not for several days in a row, just in those morning hours between like 3 a.m. and 8 a.m. The temperature will drop below freezing, and the banana trees are just oh no, I gotta die. You stupid ass tree. It was just cold for a minute, dude. Mango's the same way. You're like, what the hell? Mike Fleisner, my boy Mike, what's up, dude? Glad to see you here, man. Yeah, the Everglades are crazy. Yep. You asking me, Crusader? What do I hunt? I don't hunt anymore. I used to. I just don't have time anymore. But I used to. But mostly when I went hunting back in the day, I would do mostly bird hunting. That would just, I don't want to, probably just out of laziness and shit though. I don't want to drag a deer out of the woods. I'd rather just, bring home some quail or a pheasant or something. But yeah, no, I like venison and all that stuff. Yeah, Raziel, apples, berries, and cranberries. All right. I gotta grow stuff. I love fruit trees. I don't know, some of y'all have probably heard me say it many times before, but I love fruit trees. I've got some bananas, which I know technically isn't a tree, but bananas, loquats, what we call Japanese plums, but they're loquats. Those are really good. Got a few loquat trees. Figs. I have fig trees. I love fresh figs right off the tree. Orange, grapefruit. What else do I have? Is that it? That might be it. But yeah, I love growing trees like that. To me, fruit trees like that, they give you food every year and they don't take a lot of maintenance. It's not like a garden where you got to go, do the whole thing every year and stuff. Right? You just go out there and, at that certain time of year and get your fruit. I don't mess with them fig trees. They just start all I got to do is go out and get them figs off of there. That shit's good, and they're delicious, man. I love fresh figs. The dried figs taste completely different, but a fresh fig, it's hard to beat that. Oh yeah, yeah, Lorna. I don't know if that has anything to do with that though, with menopause, but the sun and the heat, I don't like it anymore. But when you're stuck out in it doing work, 8-10 hours a day, there's a whole different. You're on a whole different level then. I despise the sun and the heat. I can't wait to get out of that shit and get into the air conditioning in the cool. So yeah, yeah, barbecue croc. I've eaten. Well, I haven't eaten crocodile. I've eaten alligator. Lots of different fish. Turkey. Yeah, wild turkey. That's a tough. Yeah, those things are wily. They're hard to get. I've never actually been turkey hunting specifically, but I've heard a lot about turkeys and how wily they are, and they're tough. They're a tough bird to get. A bear ran right out on you, Bucky. That reminds me. That's one of my favorite jokes. So, all of y'all probably heard it. But two guys are hunting, and a grizzly bear comes out running toward them, and one guy throws his backpack down on the ground and takes out a pair of running shoes and starts putting them on. And the second guy looks at him and says, "Dude, what are you doing? You're never gonna outrun that bear. I don't care what kind of shoes you have on." And and the guy tying his shoes, he looks up, he says, "Man, I don't have to outrun that bear. I just have to outrun you." I've heard that joke many times. It still cracks me up. I just have to outrun you. Shit, that's one of my favorite jokes, dude. I love jokes. I need to look up some more of those. What are they called? The dark humor. Dark humor. I did a few episodes on dark humor, and I thought they were pretty funny. I don't know, some of y'all are newer subscribers and you probably didn't see them, but I posted them like last year. They were pretty good. But I need to do some Florida man and some dark humor. Oh, okay. Hang the sails up on the spring coils. All right, Raziel. Yeah, it- making me hungry too. Yeah, Lorna. Yeah, Mike, that bear joke has always cracked me up. Dolby, what's up, Dolby? More Florida Man. All right, yeah, I'll do another episode of Florida Man. The the whole thing. I should be wrapping this thing up next day. At work here outside of Gen X things, my regular work, shit just keeps coming up. All these little things, like yesterday I was hanging curtain rods, not curtain rods, and then touching up paint outside and caulking, and what else did we do? Oh, testing all the lines, all the gas lines and water lines and everything, and caulking the bathtub. Just little tiny shit, but dozens of them, and they just keep cropping up. I actually thought I was going to be done by today. I thought the shit was going to be done yesterday, and we were going to be completely done, wrapped up. But now, tomorrow, or today now, we've got another big old pile list of those little tiny things. So they just keep popping up on me. But yeah, here, one of these days soon, this job is going to wrap up and I'm going to have more time. So I'll sit down and do another one or two Florida Man episodes. I'll do some digging and see if I can find some more good dark humor. Do a dark humor episode. Everybody likes those jokes. And start into our evening episode on a regular basis too. Turkeys running packs. Oh, swimming in sharks tripwire. All right. Yeah. Rocker. You is that see the whole thing got I don't know what YouTube did with y'all's with your names. Rocker, is that Electronic Music Underground? Is that you? Is that who that is? I know Mr. Hyde or something like that. Mr. something is actually zombie. So I'm trying to figure out because I don't know if y'all are new or if YouTube is just messing with your names. You need a license to pick wild ginseng? What the hell? Yeah, the government sticks their damn paws in anything they can and charge us for everything. All right, Lorna, thanks for dropping by. I appreciate it. Have a good day at work. Yeah, Rocker, Canadians do have good beer. Yeah, you're right about that. Oh, Dolby, you're Robbie Reese? Okay. All right. Rocker G Simplot. All right. I didn't think y'all were brand new people. All right. But you're LeBlanc Blue. Holy shit. 13.5%. That's stronger than a lot of our wine over here. All right, Rocker. Well, I'm not going to be able to remember all those. But now I know that Dolby and Rocker are actually long-term subscribers. You're not new guys, at least. I doubt I'll be able to remember everybody's new names, so I'm just going to keep calling you Rocker and Dolby. Oh, okay, Disciple. All right, Crusader. Yeah, see, I don't know what the hell happened with YouTube, why they changed your names. That's kind of crazy. I thought I was getting to know new people, but hell, YouTube's just screwing around. So, yeah, Rocker, that malt liquor. Yeah, we were talking about that before. Bud Ice, that shit's strong. I think it's 6.5 or something like that. So yeah, that's for the United States, that's a strong beer. And I read a thing, or what time is it? Oh, okay. I read a thing over there in Russia. They like anything below 5%. What was it? It was a pretty decent number though. It might have been 10%, 5 or 10% alcohol. Anyway, anything below that number, percentage-wise, in Russia, was just considered like soda pop. It wasn't even considered an alcoholic beverage. Yeah, just like like Pepsi or Coke or something. A kid can just go buy himself a beer with 5% alcohol, and just drink it right there, sitting outside the 7-Eleven over there in Russia, just pound a regular Budweiser. The Russians are hardcore, dude. Yeah, you know how awesome that would have been when we were 16, 17? Okay. All right, Raziel. Account name versus username. Oh, Wisconsin Malt Liquors. All right, Rocker. A light beer for kids. What the? Yeah, that shit's crazy. Yeah, but I remember when I got back from basic training, I had my military ID, and I was still 19, I think, but I had my military ID, so I went and bought a keg, but I just showed them my military ID, and the bar I went to, they just sold it to me. Didn't ask me any questions, just looked at my ID and saw it was military and gave it back to me, and very plainly, it was on there that my birth date was 71 and that I was 19 years old, but he looked at it and just gave it back to me and gave me my keg, dude. I don't know if he thought that the laws were different, because I just walked in there and bought it and handed him my ID like it was okay. That like I was just doing a normal thing. I didn't act like there was any problem with it. I expected him to sell it to me. So I don't know if he just didn't want to question me, or if he knew it was wrong and was just being cool because I was in the Army, or what. But he sold me a damn keg of beer at the age of 19. Oh yeah, I was a hero coming back from the Army. Bought a keg of beer, brought a keg of beer with me. Yeah, all my buddies thought I was the shit when I came back from basic training there for for leave. Treat it like soda. Yeah, Yeah, that is true. Yeah, you have to go to the bathroom a lot more when you're drinking low alcohol. Yeah, Mike. Yeah, it used to anyway. I don't know how it is now. Yeah, that's what I think, Dolby. I always thought that he just let me slide because I was a soldier. I think I might have even put my uniform on to go in there. I think, if I remember correctly. It was 30 some odd years ago. So, but yeah, it was just a cool memory of mine that I have. That guy did right by me by selling me a keg of beer. All right, everybody, it's time. I gotta get ready and get on to work. And hopefully, this is my last full day. Even if I have to go back tomorrow and tighten up a couple little things, I might spend just a couple hours, maybe half a day, be home by lunch tomorrow. Hopefully. So, but after today, then I believe I'm gonna take a few days off. So I'll be doing all kinds of shit. Might be doing morning and evening shows. I might surprise y'all and just do an evening show. I don't know. During my time off, there's a lot of stuff I want to do. Just with Gen X thinks, And YouTube is always sending me stuff, telling me to, suggesting that I do stuff. Like vertical live streams. Stuff like that, and all kinds of different stuff, but I just haven't really had time to mess with any of them or do any of that stuff. But for some reason, YouTube wants me to do some of those things, so I might play around with a little bit of that over the next few days while I'm off. So don't be surprised if you just see me pop up here with a vertical live stream or some weird stuff. Oh, I can't remember who asked for it. It was either Big Country or Old Man. I can't remember which one of those two it was, but one of them asked me for my pickled egg recipe, and I was thinking yesterday when I was at work, I was thinking, well, I should just do that as a video, just post it as a video. So I might do that. Just do a thing and set up the camera and do my pickled eggs and show everybody how to do it. Probably be boring for most of y'all, but I know there's at least one person that's interested in it. So see how to make pickled eggs the right way. Well, according to me anyway, according to a Florida man. So, yeah. All right, so I'll say goodbye. Who we got here? Bucky. Tripwire. Who else? Crusader, Raziel, Shannon, Dolby, Jeff 7. What's up, Jeff 7? Who else we got? Mike Fleisner, my boy Mike. Rocker. Dog Karma. Lake, Lorna Charles, she's already gone. She got to go to work pretty soon too. Did I say Crusader Survivor, Tripwire? Did I? Okay, I think I got everybody, most people anyway. I think I got most of y'all. If I did not say your name, goodbye to you as well. Apologize for not catching your name. Thank you for showing up, and I appreciate you hanging out with me. I really do. Thank you very much. If you want to become a member and get your name on that banner right there, you can do that. I'll leave that link in the description, or you can head over to the channel page and become a member that way. I just appreciate the hell out of that. Those you members down there, thank you so much for supporting the channel. That's just awesome. So thank y'all. And so I'll let you go with that. And as I said before, we'll be doing some stuff here. I'll be on here more, but we'll be going through a little bit of a change over the next week or so, after I wrap this job up, all right? And I'll leave you there with that. As always, Stay frosty, Gen X, and I'll see you on the next one.